Swimming and diving, next up on Cards TV. Great to see you again. I'm Sean Moth. This is Arthur. I'll be your head coach of the Louisville Cardinals. Coach, we came off that big Indiana win. We were maybe a little concerned about the emotion of senior day and coming off that victory and the rivalry, and I guess we just push all those concerns aside. I mean, there was just no question that the University of Louisville is a far better program than the University of Kentucky, and it was proven the other day.
Well, we were, when you put it that way, that sounds really good, actually.
That's true.
And I certainly appreciate that. Our focus, again, it was to use the opportunity and use the moment and use the rivalry, if you will, to bring the best out of our own performances and really use it as a stepping stone. My challenge to the group going into that meet was, how close can we be at this meet to the performances that we want to be at the end of the season?
Sure.
And really having the championship mindset of in everything we do, from preparation to warming down to starts, turns, every little thing, because this is where it comes down to now.
Pre-match, or pre-meet, I should say, there was a ceremony for the 17 seniors, and there's some heavy hitters. I mean, that was a special group.
It was better. It's always a little bittersweet for me, because in many ways it signifies the end of an era, if you will.
Yeah.
And I think this group, out of all the groups, and we've had some phenomenal senior classes over the years.
Sure.
But I think this one in size and quality and really names of, in many ways, who's been doing some good things in our program. So to see those guys go in some ways, certainly we're very proud of where they were coming in, but where they are now as people and certainly as athletes. And it's kind of, it's kind of ironic in some ways that we do a senior ceremony, because we have so much still in front of us.
Yeah.
And so we don't allow ourselves to totally reminisce too much. We're still focused on the task at hand. But those guys, have really left their mark across the board. Everybody played a role. Somebody maybe scored more points, but everybody had some impact in who we are today as a program and for the years to come.
I think, to put it in perspective, senior ceremonies that I've been involved with, you try to tabulate 27 Big East champions. There were too many to count. I mean, it was a remarkable group, and it set the tone for a meet that just beginning to end, you dominated. 24 of the 28 races, you were the winners, and when you do the math at 9 points, that'll get you the victory almost every time.
Yeah. Well, and I think, I think I mentioned to you last time, my one concern in senior meets are just how to go from the emotional high of realizing that this is your final home meet.
Yeah.
Your parents are there, the university president's there, Mr. Tom Jewish is there. It's just a great celebration of our sport, of our program, and yet turn around less than 5 minutes later and be ready to perform, because this is what the moment calls for. And they did a great job of managing that.
We saw a lot of the names that we've talked about in the past that were outstanding performers in the meet. Any other names that you maybe want to throw out there that had an especially good afternoon? Well,
I think the seniors in general, I mean, this was, again, for them too, to a little bittersweet, but we try to focus on, again, championship mindset and the things that we're trying to accomplish, So I think you saw Fanny Lillestrom really putting together some great performances. I was impressed the way she stepped up. I think Rainey Thompson continued her, her campaign, if you will, as a senior captain. Eileen Cole, Stephanie Junker, this young lady's Lacey Bobo. I mean, I'm sure I'm going to miss some here. There was a lot of them.
Yeah.
But as a group, they really continue. Melissa Steele, they really again set the tone for the rest of the group. And on the men's side, and Carlos Almeida and Pedro Oliveira and Brandon Andrews. That's 3/4 of a pretty good medley relay right there, and again, setting the tone for the kids to come for the program, and even we had a couple guys that that kind of concluded their season at that meeting, Clayton Coleman and Adam Isaacs, and their contributions to the program also are certainly have been tremendous. So we're very proud of this group overall, and like we're saying, we still have a lot to work, a lot to do in front of us.
Yeah. For the next meet, the Cards treat it as the next meet, while some maybe make this the final destination. This is another step on the way to bigger and better things, but it is Big East, and the diving championships begin this weekend, and the following week are the swimming championships, all being hosted at Pittsburgh. And let's start with the divers. I mean, Hannah Gadd is two-time Big East Diver of the Year. I know she's wanting to win multiple boards, and she's kind of snuck under the radar. She's kind of that rock for you in your diving program, and I know that you expect big things from her at the Big East.
Well, she's a proven competitor, and I think looking back at her sophomore year, you know, to win and to be a Big East Diver of the Year as a freshman, certainly in many ways it kind of happened to her. It wasn't anything she set out to do, and then there was a little bit of pressure going in as a sophomore, diving at home to defend that.
Yeah.
You know, I despise that idea of defending because it couldn't be different circumstances.
Sure.
You know? But there was this pressure, and everybody was talking about defending, and she performed, you know, at a high level again, and then was very fortunate to make it to the NCAA championships.
Yep.
And that experience, I think, was very valuable for her to understand what that level is about, and to realize that she's a player at that level.
Yeah.
So coming into this year as a junior, you know, certainly she has a different awareness. You're right; she's kind of below the radar screen in many ways. You know, but this is what she does best. You know, it's going to be competition at a high level, and you know, this is a diving portion of the Big East Championship, so it's exciting.
18 athletes, and a diver will count as a third of an athlete, so to speak. So 3 divers equals a swimmer. You take 18 on both sides. That pushes you into the swimming or the swimming portion, I should say. And speaking of defending, which you don't like the term,
no, I don't.
But you are the defending champions, and I know that doesn't necessarily put any more pressure on you, but maybe that's it's kind of fun to walk in there with that target on your back.
Well, you know, I like to rephrase that. I think we were the team that won the championships last year, but this current team is not defending anything.
Sure.
They're not the same guys.
Yeah.
You know, last year's team, those guys are the champions, and the seniors walked away, and we got a slew of, you know, different faces, and so I don't like the idea of defending anything because we got to go in there and battle for everything with great respect for our opponents. You know, of course, we're going to compete to win, but that's our mindset.
Yeah.
And that's really kind of what we talked about almost on a daily basis these days. It's not so much about what the scoreboard says. It's our mindset. It's
right.
How we go into this and our approach, and how we're just going to ultimately free ourselves to be at our very best. I think preparation-wise, you know, I couldn't be more pleased with the effort that we put in as a team from A to Z. Our staff did a tremendous job. So I feel like, you know, if you will, the hay's in the barn, and you know, it's time to have some fun. And you know, I'm really excited as a purist of the sport, as a fan.
Sure.
To see what some of these guys can really do.
Yeah.
And you know, men and women, I think we're going to have some you know, out of this world, as I call it, shock the world performances. And this has nothing to do with the opponents. It has everything to do with us.
Yeah.
You know, so going into it, that's our mindset, that's our focus, and you know, we're going to go in there to swim. But you're right, you touched on this earlier. Ultimately, this is not the end of all be all. Yes, we are going to compete to win the Big East championships. Those are very important, and we're proud that we've been on the good end of that last couple of years. But it's still about using this opportunity as a stepping stone to the NCAA championships. You know, and a goal was put out there when I first took this job 9 years ago, and then somebody asked me, how do you feel ultimately where the program can be? And you know, without really in the height of the awareness of a 29-year-old new head coach, I said, you know, I believe we have everything in here to be a top 10 program. And those beliefs have not changed. And that's what motivates us day in, day out, that we can be a top 10 program. And you know, Sean, at one point, maybe we used to be Louis Who in swimming. And I say that with all due respect to previous, you know, athletes and coaches. Sure. But looking at the national stage, to where we are today, we're proud of it. And you know, this is an opportunity with this senior class to see if we can do something. Let's do something special.
All right. Looking forward to the competition in Pittsburgh, beginning with diving and concluding with swimming. And we'll take that break to allow them to do their job and come back to you in 2 weeks. Best of luck and safe travel, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
For Arthur Albiero, I'm Sean Moth. And before we go, thanks to everybody that came to Ralph Wright for the Kentucky meet. The atmosphere was phenomenal. The readout was great, and you really did make a difference. So we look forward to your continued support. Follow the Cards online through the Big East and U of L websites to see how things go at Big East, and then we'll talk again right here on Cards TV.